So we line up to race. Now, you might be thinking, oh, Matt's dad probably took it easy on him and then let him win.
No, the way you're telling the story, clearly, he smoked
my
you.
dad went, like it was one lap, and he lapped me. Hey, Internet, it's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here talking about Obi Wan Kenobi, Season 1, Episodes 1 and 2, appropriately titled Part 1 and Part 2.
That's right.
Who knew?
Yeah, rather daring, I'd say.
We open with a pretty well done previously on. It's an effective recap of the prequels.
Yes. And especially for people who are trying to avoid the prequels.
That's right. I'll say this, frequent contributor to the show, Theron, he is actually a pretty big fan of the prequels, so he was like, wow. Yay! Sorry, okay. You win this round, Theron.
Yeah, really.
But this recap reminds us, among other things, of the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Sure. Previously on Star Wars.
Right. So we also see some younglings escape from the Order 66 moment, and we'll talk more about that
from
in a
that
second.
moment of it, yes.
Yes, right. They haven't technically escaped the building yet. Yeah,
yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay. But we'll talk more about that. I think that's pretty relevant.
Sure.
We end with the Inquisitor Reva revealing to Obi-Wan that Anakin is still alive.
Yes.
Apparently, this is news to Obi-Wan.
Yes.
He calls out Anakin's name, and seemingly in response, Vader opens his eyes in a bacta-tank.
And he bubbles.
On a distant planet. Yes, the bubbles. He bubbles up. You can see if you interpret the bubbles, it says Obi-Wan.
Yes. At the top of the water, it was like, pop, pop, pop. And it's like, Obi-Wan.
So that's how that ends. That said, Paul, what did you think of episodes 1 and 2?
So I thought it was good.
Okay.
I think the show. I think the group there behind Star Wars, Filoni probably. I'm going to give him the most credit, even though he's probably just a producer on it. But I think they got a handle on how to make Star Wars. I think there are mixed feelings on a number of the different things. Some people like some stuff more than others, but I felt this had a strong handle on how to do Star Wars, even though I would like it to be better than it is. But I did enjoy it. Give me
your most favorite and least favorite thing about these 2 episodes.
I think they've done a good job. Most favorite thing is of outlining Ben Kenobi's character and Leia, surprisingly. That character I think is well drawn too. And the situation around them. There are times when, I feel like because the script requires us to respect the Jedi, they don't need to do the work to make the audience actually respect the Jedi. And so there were at least a few situations where he was like, boy, like, Ben is just the dumbest Jedi. And then it's like, oh, no, he's not as dumb as we thought. It's like, the time when he got caught, and you're like, you dumb Ben. It's like, oh, no. So maybe that's his plan all along. It's just like, everybody just thinks I'm a dumbass. But really, I'm going to keep fooling people and just, thinking that I'm dumb when I'm really not that dumb.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I really liked seeing Ewan McGregor again. I think he was a very effective portrayal of our older, sadder Ben Kenobi. I mean, there's a little bit of parallels. Maybe I shouldn't bring this up because it's somewhat controversial, I guess. But there's a little bit of parallels to old man Luke in Last Jedi. With the hey, I've lost the hope I once had back in the day. Kind of
yeah, sure.
Until you get a call to action.
Sure, yeah.
But
to help a young girl.
Right, great point. Interestingly, with that younglings rescue shot in the very beginning. But first of all, I think it's I don't think it's crazy to assume that Reva is one of the students.
You're crazy.
Okay, I'm crazy. So that's her backstory. But, given the recent devastatingly tragic events that we've just had in Texas, it was a little sobering to see, like, teacher dying to save her students. I don't know,
sure, yeah.
Obviously, they didn't know that going in.
So you enjoyed it?
Oh yes. So I enjoyed these episodes quite a bit. There's a few things I didn't care for, but most of the things I did. I like Jimmy Smits. I liked his return.
Oh yeah, that was good. I like that too.
There's so many moments when he's having his conversation with Leia where you're like, oh, because he's saying stuff like, well, you're going to be the future ruler of Alderaan or whatever. Like, oh, no, she's not. Oh, Alderaan's not going to be there. And they're like, you're like, oh, no, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. This whole place is gone. But I liked the duality mirroring Luke's life on Tatooine versus Leia's life on Alderaan.
Sure.
She's living this life of privilege, waving at people. Luke is on a moisture farm in the middle of the desert.
Yes.
And so it's like they're two different upbringings.
Yeah, I mean, it's, one of the things I feel like I heard more than a few times before the show started is people imagine, like, why is he leaving the planet? What the heck does he think he's doing? And ready to be upset. But I think, Jimmy Smith's warning of, she's just as important.
Yeah, it's a perfectly
was actually to the audience. Like,
yeah, he doesn't leave to go buy groceries and whatever. He's like, no, the other Skywalker kid has been kidnapped.
That's right. Yes, Obi-Wan was not a Rolling Stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. No,
I think he could take a day off of the meat processing plant that he's doing to go and.
It's funny though. I thought that dude running around, the Jedi running. I thought he was going to be like, "Hey, could you watch the kid?" And I go, but no.
Oh,
he's dead. He got killed.
I will say this, like, speaking of the Jedi that ends up finding Obi-Wan, I'm like,
yes.
If I was Obi-Wan in that situation, I'd be like, oh no. Like, that dude found me real easy. Like, oh, man. I thought I was hiding in a cave. I was doing all this stuff so no one would find me. You just walk up and say, hey, Obi-Wan, how you doing? Like, oh, no. Oh, no. So, yeah, they didn't hide well enough. So, Reva is part of this group of Inquisitors. Inquisitors are Force-sensitive folks who
and I want to give props to Moses Ingram there. I think very good performance.
She's getting a lot of backlash, obviously, on Twitter and such, and it's
I didn't realize.
Terrible.
Thankfully, I missed it.
She posted some stuff to say, hey, look at all the racist things that I'm getting as a response of me acting in a Star Wars show.
Okay.
So, just terrible. Her part is actually pretty intriguing, assuming that she is, in fact, originally a youngling. So she is, she's at the Jedi Temple. She obviously, if that's her, she survives Order 66.
Yes.
We are told by one of the Grand Inquisitor that they found her in the gutter. So it seems like she ended up homeless or something, perhaps, as a result of this stuff. And there's also a difference between her actions and the other Inquisitors. If I were to put it in Dungeons and Dragons terms, which I tend to do, where it seems like the Grand Inquisitor with his like, I'll give a public monologue about why I think people might be hiding the guy. Anyway, he I think would be lawful evil.
Okay.
I think they have a code, but they're evil.
Okay.
And she seems more chaotic evil. I mean, she's just like, screw it, cut the hand off. Hey, let's go. Bop, 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 bop. I'm going to send all the bounty hunters after him. I'm going to steal the senator's daughter, even though that's against the code. Sure. So she seems much more driven to achieve this goal of finding Obi-Wan. And so with that in mind, I've got a theory or two about why that might be. Do you have any thoughts as to
it's my understanding that what Reva wants to do is take him back to Vader?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Which it's sort of like one of those like, ooh, I want to give it to you, get you killed because of what you did in leaving us, because, well, it was Vader who, attacked you and caused everybody to die. But
Right.
But everything's fine now that he's accepted evil. It's like, it's like.
I agree. There's also some leaks out there. Maybe I won't talk about those because until the story actually says what happens,
right.
It happens. But there's some reason to believe that she's maybe not all in on being Darth Vader-y.
I see.
But my thought is, I think you're right that perhaps part of her anger at Kenobi is, I think probably for failing to properly train Anakin, right? She knows who Anakin is. She knows Anakin's Vader. She probably knows that Anakin is Vader because she probably saw him in the Jedi Temple. She probably saw him killing so that's why she knows. And so I'm wondering if it's just like a dual thing of like, okay, the only guy that actually should have killed Vader is Kenobi.
Yes.
He's also the guy that failed to train Vader.
Yes.
Why don't I put those two together, two people I hate? One of them will kill the other. That's good for me. And then maybe I can kill off the other one or something. But like, basically, put the two people I hate at odds together, and no matter what happens, good on it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, thanks for buttering them up. And you're the one I wanted to fight. Once that one wins.
And actually, we may find out a lot more about that. The next episode is going to drop pretty soon. And I think the rumor is that that's going to be kind of a Vader-centric episode.
Wow, okay.
So I think we may learn a little bit more about that backstory. Here's the question I've got. Here's a little bit of a
Let it rip.
Okay, we know, even from that little prequel recap, it reminds us that Obi-Wan saw the little hologram of Palpatine saying, like, "Rise, Vader." And like, so he knew that Anakin was Vader back in the day. Then he thought he killed him. Okay, fine. But it sounds like he's just 10 years later realizing that Vader is still alive? And that seems highly unlikely to me. Like, I didn't think that Vader was in hiding. I just thought he was hiding his original identity, which is Anakin. But Obi-Wan knows that. It's just he seems to not realize that Vader is alive. And I'm like, really? Anyway, that just maybe out there, if there's some kind of canon thing that's like says, "Yo, yeah, of course," because Vader was hiding the whole time. I just didn't think that was the case. So that's odd. It's odd to me that Obi-Wan wouldn't have known. Oh yeah, assuming he made the connection, Anakin to Vader, which he did, he wouldn't be surprised that Vader is around.
Sure,
but he is. So we're gonna go with it.
Did it bother you as it did some? The whole, wait a minute, Leia meeting Obi-Wan at this age.
That didn't bother me.
Okay, yeah, it didn't bother me either. I heard somebody suggest that at some point before she leaves the series, or at least this adventure anyway, that she will call Ben General Kenobi, as she does in the intro in Star Wars. So
I guess the only line that impacts, if I were to think of like canon issues, would be when Obi-Wan tells Yoda, like, that boy was our only hope. And then Yoda says, "No, there is another."
Well, I don't know why that would, because at this point, she hasn't shown any Force sensitivity.
Right. So I think there are ways you can explain around that line. I don't think that's...
Right. Well, I think there's, like I said, that's why I think that, it's like, okay, after this adventure, she calls him General Kenobi from then on, as opposed to Ben. And so when she says, "Oh, Ben Kenobi," it makes less sense. It's kind of hard to like, remember me is what she could say. You saved my life, instead of, "Oh, you fought with my father during the Clone Wars." I mean, unless, there's some reason for her to keep that secret. Like, oh, suppose this is caught. At least, now it's only just a quest for me to get Ben Kenobi to help. And it's not really talking about the time that he saved my life.
Well, you've got the two things, help me, Obi Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. We get that bit from the beginning of New Hope.
Right.
And also the fact that she names her kid Ben. I mean, she obviously felt some kind of a, affinity for Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but she, people might assume watching Star Wars that she had only heard of Ben and never met him. And so it's like, oh, let me talk to somebody who only knows me because I'm related to somebody else, as opposed to you nearly died saving my life. So I could see the criticism. I don't care about the criticism.
Okay. I mean, if I were to, I'll bring up my probably least favorite thing about these two episodes, which involves Leia, are the chase scenes.
Oh.
They kind of reminded me of the speeder bike chase from
Boba Fett. Interesting.
It's like,
wow.
I
like the one in the woods.
You liked the one in the woods?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I thought of the two, the one in the city versus the one in the woods, the one in the city, at least you could say, like, oh, she got lost in the crowd. But the one in the woods in particular to me was like, no way. 3 adults, 1 10-year-old kid alone in the woods. She would be captured in literally like a second.
Well, okay. I think you would agree that somebody who's been in the woods a lot with people who don't know the woods, that she could have an advantage.
I'll say this. This is part of the reason I feel as strongly as I do about, in a race, she just get caught like that. Because I actually did this. Now, I wasn't 10. I was about 7.
Okay.
But I was about 7 years old.
3 years makes all the difference.
3 years makes all the difference. I was convinced as 7-year-old me that I was pretty damn fast.
Right.
I was like, so I challenged my dad to a race around our apartment building. We were living in a army barracks thing in Frankfurt, Germany at the time. And so I'm like, I bet I could beat you in a lap around the apartment building. And my dad's like, okay, let's do it. So we line up to race. Now, you might be thinking, oh, Matt's dad probably took it easy on him and then let him win.
The way you're telling this story, clearly, he smoked
my
you.
dad went, like, it was 1 lap and he lapped me. Like, I was like, what? I can't tell you how stunned I was. I mean, it was like,
okay.
My dad must be like the Flash. Like, I was like, how is he so much faster than me? I'm just saying.
That's what we're coming down to.
That's what we're coming down to.
Your anger from this moment has fed.
Like,
you're like, what? No, children cannot raise adults. No. You were like Vader in all those smash cuts. You're like, no,
right? No, but there's another trope. It's not in these 2 episodes, but it's in movies and TV shows a lot, where you'll see somebody like in the woods trying to outrun like a pack of dogs.
Oh yeah, sure.
And you're like, there is no way that you're gonna do that. It's it shows them like running, and then they'll cut to the dogs, and you're like, what? You don't realize how few seconds you have to survive in that moment. So it's a similar idea. We're like, the 10-year-old's running, and there's 3 adults trying to catch her. We're like, okay, all right.
So
that was the least effective.
So would they have bought your consent if she had unconsciously shown some force,
used some kind of force powers?
Yeah.
Maybe, probably better. I mean, it would have, because I was completely taken out of that moment. I was like, oh no, come on. I get it. You want to show that even a young Leia is capable, but there are ways of doing that without. All right. Anyway, so but that said, I'm willing to overcome that. I actually thought, generally speaking, that character of Leia, the actress, gave a good performance. So I'm good with it. It's just
okay, all right.
There's just a few.
You're just still hurting from that loss. The agony of defeat. We understand.
And here's how you know. Here's how you know the Inquisitors are evil. They killed off the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P. Flea. They asked him for information, but he wouldn't give it away. Okay.
Oh, give it away now. Okay. Terrible. people have said, and I guess I missed it. I assume when she walked away that he was still alive, but I guess he's dead.
Wait, are you talking Kumail Nanjiani?
Yeah, Kumail Nanjiani.
No, I think he's still alive.
Okay, good. I don't
think she killed him. Dead. That was a little surprise because she's been violent before then. But
but she got what she needed, and then she walked away, and he's okay.
Right.
Okay, good.
Right. I think, in fact, when she said, "You're not a Jedi," that was almost the thing that saved him, probably.
Oh. It's like, I approve of your con.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get the information I need.
Yeah. So one thing, though, that would be very canon breaking if you just take it on face value, which is why I think it's not true, is that scene at the end where Reva kills the Grand Inquisitor, seemingly.
Yeah.
Well, he is very much alive a few years later in the Rebels show.
Yeah, sure, yes.
And then he gets killed off then in the Rebels show. So
I see.
I feel like he's coming back, but boy, that injury looked pretty severe, right? You get run through by a lightsaber. I guess if they brought Darth Maul back, but yeah. So I don't think he's gone. Okay. We'll see how that transpires. Get that back to tank ready.
Yes.
It's a catch-all.
I wonder if they'll throw him in there next to Vader. It's like, you know,
right. Oh, have you been recently decapitated? Back to tank. There you go. Oh, okay. We're good. His backstory is that he was once a guard to the Jedi Temple. Back in the day. So he was associated with the Jedi as well.
And that's the thing that I still don't think enough thought has been put behind. You know, there's all this. Oh, this is the way the Jedi is. They only train you if you're like a toddler, and you know, and if you are a Jedi, you can't have any emotional connections to anything, and you know, and all these people are hunting them now are all previously Jedi. It's like, oh my God. There are no Jedis left, except for the people that were Jedi, and now they're killing the Jedi, but none left. They're all dead.
The idea of like, hey, there's a balance to everything, and we're going to promote harmony, that's great. But like their methods for getting there, like, really? We've talked about it in other things, but just...
Yeah, but and also, too, it's sort of like, wait, this all comes down to Obi Wan being a bad teacher? I mean, it's just him. Really, it's just him that causes that taught the savior of the it was the teaching the savior of the Jedi, and because he went bad, all these other ones could go bad too. It's all on Ben.
It's all on Ben. Actually, you can back up the chain of blame one more step to Qui-Gon, who I think we're going to see a cameo of. They're referencing him a few times. We saw.
So you're saying that Qui-Gon didn't train Ben well enough to train?
No. Remember, as he's dying, Qui-Gon, and they showed it in this previously on. Yeah. Qui-Gon makes Obi-Wan promise to train Anakin. Promise me you'll train him.
I see.
Even though Yoda says don't, you know, and then I'm dead. So,
but they also show the scene where it's like the dude telling Anakin, like, "Oh, I was trained, but someone also trained me about the dark side," and that guy seduces him. But that's not his fault. It's all on Ben. It's
it's a harsh sentence for Obi-Wan, but he probably feels it, right? I think he probably feels the blame. He takes the guilt of the fact that if I'd only done this, if I'd only done that, and in fact. Here's another I'll throw the theory out. I think now that he's just realized that Anakin is still alive.
Yes.
And Vader, whatever, is Vader.
Right, sure.
I gotta think he might think he can maybe turn him back to the light. Like he might consider, like, wait, Anakin is still around and he's done all his hunting of the Jedi. I can reach him. I'm his brother. I can turn him back to the light. I mean, I feel like that could be a plot thing coming here, which obviously will go terribly wrong.
Oh yeah,
because there's no turning to the light anytime soon.
No, definitely
until you
not.
hit to Return of the Jedi much later.
Yes,
if Obi-Wan attempts that,
only on his deathbed, and that's the thing. Like him and Ben.
Yeah, deathbed thing. You're like, we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's sort of just like Yeah, like
It's like Catholic confession.
yes,
It's
yes,
like,
exactly. It's like,
I
oh,
confess.
you can be.
Whew.
Yeah, what was that from Bedazzled? The devil's like, oh, you can be a terrible person all throughout life, but as long as on your deathbed you're like, oh, I'm sorry, and then boom, you go to heaven because you apologized, in time.
In time. Yeah. No, I literally committed horrible genocide. Maybe billions of people died because of me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about it. All right, yay!
Yeah, and these kids at the beginning of the, who ran off, they look more capable than that kid in, in that shot there. He just sort of like, whoo! You get that, remember that shot from the third movie?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that kid just looked like, well, he's not capable of anything.
Yeah.
He will be the first to die.
You will be the first to die.
So he just like, ah!
Poor kid. That was Reva's best friend, Paul.
Yeah.
We may actually go back to that scene again to see more of Reva.
Oh, I'm sure they love that scene again. It's almost as important as the death of Bruce Wayne's parents.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's a very good series. I think I liked episode 1's a bit better than episode 2, but they both had something cool to offer. I like the fact that they got right to the call to action. It was like, hey, we see this downtrodden Ewan who's he's scared for his life too, right? He's in hiding because he realizes that in any moment he could be found out, but he's also attempting to keep the Skywalker kids alive.
Yes.
And then this, okay, you got to leave the planet. And so I like that. But they pushed him out of his comfort zone pretty quickly, and we're off. And plus, it's nice that he's not on Tatooine at the moment, frankly. I've had enough Tatooine. All right, we're done. Tatooine. We got it. The desert planet. Okay. So seeing something else, I'm like, yay! And you see this thing of, I forgot the name of the casino planet, whatever that they're on, but it is so inspired by Blade Runner. Blade Runner really set the trend.
Yeah,
it's amazing how many films reference that look.
Yeah,
it looks cool. I mean, granted.
Yeah.
So check mark for Blade Runner. But anyway, all right, we'll be back talking about episode 3, which potentially we could see a little bit of Hayden Christensen coming in. So I'm looking forward to
more
that.
than his eye.
More than the bubbles. So we'll be back. Thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
No problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye.